Let me just make sure it catches. Get out, boom, get out, boom. There she blows, boom.
And we're recording and all that?
About to. Yeah, okay, caught it just in time. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Welcome to transmission. I'm going to imitate Susan. So we're gonna do a transmission on social media today for a couple of reasons. One is because it's a very good show, and anyone that wants to binge on it in the future, it's well worth your while. I like to call it Two Jewish Grandmothers. Two awakened Jewish grandmothers, and it's really cool. Paul's come on. Paul Hanrieder's come on, I think 4 times, and he's going to be producing a show at some point. Claudia Selk is our dear sister, beloved sister, who's here in Houston to help with the Soulgy Fest, which we're going to go anchor this weekend and put in our permanent flag on the 1st of November. But yeah, so I just wanted to pop in and let, say hello to everybody and let them know what we're doing today. And to remind them of the Soulgy Fest online or in person, and the Soulgy Network, which we're working hard on, which is not easy. But if you can't do it here, do it somewhere. Do what we're doing, not because we're smarter than you, but because there's something to be said for these new relationships that are not based on codependency, but in energy exchange where everybody shows up 360 degrees wide open, creating multiple Vesica Pisces where 2 or more gather. So without further ado, take as long as you want. Susan, Julia, Claudia, Paul, I'll see y'all later. And thank you for letting me come in, and thank you for showing up. You're good to go.
Okay, so we starting? Oh,
yes.
Welcome to Transmission. This is a show about the energy, sacred geometry, and light that underlie communication, which in higher dimensions functions of itself, but in lower dimensions we struggle with. So this is run like a Quaker circle or an AA meeting where you speak and you listen. You don't judge openly. You don't criticize openly. And unless somebody really inspires you, you don't really talk about what the other person talked about necessarily. You speak for yourself. You speak authentically. We pick a topic, which is kind of an artifice in a way, something that just gets the vibration going. And it's the vibration and the frequency that dances with itself that changes us all. So that's the point of this transmission. And I think our topic is about inner child healing, which my first response to was, well, I've done that before and who cares anymore? And then it came up anyway in levels and other levels, and it was really quite profound, actually. So that's kind of cool. And then I passed the show off to Julia. Our 2 hosts, which panelists I always forget to introduce, are Paul Hanrieder from Calgary and Claudia Selk from around the Western United States. And now I'll give it to Julia.
Oh boy, what an exciting show. I was shocked when Todd said this was going on all the social media. So this is like one of the free shows everybody can watch. And it's really important show because it's about, of course, inner child healing, which encompasses a lot. It's not just one thing. But I usually talk about the energies and the ascension symptoms, which a lot of we're all deep empaths. So we feel the weather, we feel other people's emotions. We feel when the sun has solar flares that can make us very tired, anxious. We feel God's energy coming in, the earth, and it can hit our nervous system. So a lot of people, when we first started, a lot of people got panic attacks like myself. And I don't get them anymore. I'm more grounded. I learned techniques and all that. So the energies are intense. Of course, they're intense around Thanksgiving. There's a lot of sun activity, but there's a lot of energy coming in that has nothing to do with the sun. It's just God's energy coming down to the Christ consciousness energy. The return of Christ, I guess you could call it, is another term. And it's just the energy coming down and just opening everyone's hearts. And that's why it's so intense right now, because it's the last bit of the negative stuff that's affecting the human race. I kind of didn't want to go into all that, but I get transmissions as I'm talking. So that was like, and because there's so many new people that are probably watching this show, we just kind of wanted a quick update of kind of what's going on. It's all going to work out. Don't be worried. That's why it's nuts. It's all going to work out. Maybe 2 more years but it's getting started now. There's a lot of positive things happening now. Things are exploding because they have to be seen and they have to be discussed. And so that's what's going on. So I'm exhausted. I'm kind of like fighting that. So Paul and I did a session. We're going to do breath work for inner child healing. So we did one session where he just was like a coach. And then we did another section where I healed him. I was doing healing on him. And I do sporadic healings. I'm looking into making it more of a business. So the inner child healing was about, you know how we kind of block ourselves from, we don't have enough self-esteem to get a business started, or we have an interest, but to turn it into a business. And of course, you know, our spiritual people were like, well, why should I get money? Everybody needs free healing. Well, I do a lot of free stuff. I don't even think about money. I just tell people, look, just refer me to somebody else, you know, because I love, you know, doing healings. And it's mostly family. It's a couple of friends, and a couple of my friends that are not even into this stuff are asking for healing, which is kind of like maybe they're starting to get into this stuff. But we all know that we all need connection to source. That's it. That's where your happiness lies. It's great to have money. It's great to have a career, but things change. And it's great to have the stability of having a relationship with source directly. You don't have to go to a rabbi or a priest, or, you know, it's a direct thing. So my thing that I needed to get over is after menopause, I kind of like stopped driving. I would get these panic attacks. I'd get claustrophobia in the car. And I've given it to source. I've given it to, so sometimes you need a catalyst, and source will bring you somebody. So Paul came and he was coaching me about, we didn't even get into all that. That's like the breath work part of it, which we haven't gotten into, but we went into the inner child, being the stuckness. And it brought out, you know, I had no, you know, I knew there was fear in my family, but I didn't realize how much fear. So we were brought back to my grandmother, who was she was in Ukraine, but back then it was the USSR. So it was Russia back then. And they spoke Russian, and they were Jewish, and the Tsar was coming with all his troops to attack the Jewish neighborhood. And they had a Catholic family that befriended them, and they were in the basement, all 13 brothers and sisters. So I went into that hole, and I felt the demon or the negativity, the fear. Humans can produce negative energy that can be, it's not really a demon, but it's like this negative spirit that comes from the fear. Yep. Yeah. And it stayed in our DNA. And every single woman in our family is afraid of everything. My grandparents never left their house after work, you know, but it was like, you know, they went to a movie. They were happy and satisfied to be in a house that they could own. And, but it was like, so we went through that. And then, so I had to release that. And I really felt within my lower, because it's in your DNA. So inner child healing is a lot. It's in the DNA. It's programming from school. I mean, most everybody has gotten teased. I was teased terribly because people could just sense I was different, you know. And so society, the whole woman thing, woman doesn't need to work. She's not important. It's the boys in the family that are important. So we went through all that. And at the very end, I mean, it's not over. I mean, it's a process, but I felt so much better. I can't kind of put it in English, but I just felt really good afterwards. And what he kind of did was he was coaching me. Well, what do you feel about that? Why this? Why that? I mean, it was a very interesting. And next week we're going to do breath work, which he can kind of talk about. But I also do the violet flame coming down and healing inner child, which kind of stopped. Now it's something new. And what I did for him is I cleared his chakras. I went from each chakra, and I didn't realize I was going to do it. It was just what source told me to do. And then I went into his heart, and I'm not going to, that's personal. We're not going to tell what happened, but it was like, he felt my energy. And that really was exciting because I don't always know. Most people tell me they feel it, but that was really amazing. And it gave me a lot of confidence. So what I'd like to do is I'd like Claudia to go next, because we hear from Paul all the time. And he could go after Claudia, because we want to introduce her. And introduce yourself. And what do you think about, what do you do for inner child healing?
I have my friends help me. And that friend was Cinderella, one of our friends. Yeah. Anyway, it's a pleasure to be here with you, Julia and Susan, and Paul. I remember you from past shows. Yeah. So it's such a pleasure. Now, inner child. Okay. So, for many years, I felt like I needed to go deep inside, and I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what it was. Certainly, my dad was Hinduism background, or Vedanta Hinduism, and I followed that and things. But anyway, so I knew I needed to go deep. So anyway, it just so happened that one of our Sology sisters, Cinderella, and I have been conversing, and actually we have been together. But anyway, we started doing work in March. And it really cool. It was godsend, because my mom passed in April. So it was very rewarding to have started this stuff going on. And then when I went to Arizona, then I got Cinderella. Cinderella was giving me one out in nature a session, and that was really strong. Inner child. Yeah. Get the gunk out so we can play like we're supposed to. Play and learn, play, learn, play, learn. What what else will be helpful at this moment to share?
Anything you want, but is there a specific technique that you use for healing, or
Technique? Yeah. Yeah, about 16 hours a day, 17 hours a day. Think about God, universe, unity, oneness, and then get on the videos. Either get on the videos or get your intuition going, to suit you, to suit myself. All the basics and all the pure, all the simplicity in the world. Love first, love rules. What else? And techniques. I got to work this out with a girlfriend. I went to the Houston Zoo a couple weeks ago, And this girlfriend lives in Houston, and so she came out 2 days ago, and we toured around Galveston. And I noticed that during my zoo trip, certain things happened, and I didn't want those actions to happen. So that meant that I was triggered back then, and I needed to just be with it, instead of ignoring it. Yes. And then and the explanation, she little things like people would give me suggestions to do. Well, I sit on this pyramid top. In Mayan, I'm seven storm at the top. I've got a lot of things in my view. I don't need another thing necessarily. It'll clog me up. Anyway, so I got to work that out with her because she's committed to God and universe and love, just like me, just like us. Okay, good. Sharing done.
The only thing I could think to just insert real fast was a line from Joseph Chilton Pierce, which was "Man plays and God works." I always thought that was a cool line.
Oh.
It's our job to play and God will do the rest. Okay, finish now.
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
You want to go next, Susan, or
Yeah,
I think you're next. Yeah.
Paul, you're next.
I'm next? Okay. Okay, so when we ended the show last week or whatever, we talked about rebuilding reality, which is this thing that I'm being called to do for people. And it's like we just kind of, Julie and I sat and I just said, what's going on in your world? What's happening or whatever? And we just kind of dug down until we started to see some roots that weren't serving her. And one of them was that fear. And there's also a program that's going around the Jewish people and how they were in the Holocaust. And it's created this, I see it in Native Indians in Canada quite a bit. It's a race wound that's been just propagated over and over, and it creates this fear. And then we're painted with it from our parents right from birth, so we don't even know it's in our field. So we went back and we looked at it, and she's like, "Oh, I feel this fear of my grandmother, and all my past relations are sitting here and cheering me on to go through this." And we just kept digging and digging and digging, and it was just curiosity until she started to make these breakthroughs, and it shifted her. It's just, I didn't do anything. I just basically channel and work as a hollow bone with her higher self. That's the very first thing we said is, can I work with your higher self? And then these questions just started percolating, and she made the breakthrough. I just kept nudging her to say, okay, is that helping you? Is that not helping you? Is this fear? Is this whatever? And we just kept burrowing down, and all of a sudden all this stuff popped, and it turned into inner child healing, because that little inner child had to grow up very quickly because of that program. And it took away a whole bunch of her possibility, and it took away the play, just like Claudia said, doing play. We're trying to get back into that inner child so we can be in innocence and purity and play and fun and happiness, and not all this serious shit about, I'm a Holocaust survivor, and I'm a man, and I'm a mother, and we just paint ourselves with this brush of stuff that has a program with it, and we don't even know we're doing it. And that's why there's this heavy energy right now, Julia, because we're all being asked to face our family programming. Like mom's makes the turkey, and we're being there to support our family. And there's just a ton of programming, and everybody's kind of rebelling against it. And they're not sure, and it's pressure, and it's obligation and responsibility that we're shedding ourselves of, but we don't know that we're shedding of. So we're going to have little conflicts over Thanksgiving, and it's different between Canada and the US when Thanksgiving is, but we're going to explore those parts of ourselves. And that's where the density is right now for me anyways. So does that describe it well, Julia, the session? Or oh, she's muted.
Oh, I'm trying to unmute.
There you are.
My dog is snoring, so I just didn't want you guys to. It's not my husband, it's my dog. Yeah, that kind of describes it. It's and it's more also with self-esteem, because that is the biggest I think every human in the world, including people that are, especially people that are narcissistic, there is a self-esteem issue. And, we're told, oh, don't love yourself because that's, conceited, but you need to love yourself in order to love others, and to take care of yourself and to function. And but it's yeah, so it's self-esteem. And what I find, if you're not using any techniques, you can just go to the basics, like Claudia was saying. I have like an hour, my routine changed. I've been doing this my whole life, but basically 10 years into the ascension where I knew things were actually changing, that I was actually can do it myself. I can help change the world but I had to change myself first. So that's your relationship with God. That's your first, you don't need anybody else to do it. You can just talk to God and say, I have these hurts and these pains. I surrender them to you. And sometimes, like, even I've done that a few times, and during the day while I'm washing dishes, an event comes up from my childhood. I look at it, it caused me shame, it caused me pain. I looked at it, I thanked it, I hugged little Julie, and I said, goodbye. I'm no longer responsible for that. So we move up, and it's all about raising your vibration. And we also discussed good things happening, like why do bad things happen to good people? Because they're still dealing with past negativity that they have sent out. So when you're creating something new, so becoming awake and aware is not only understanding we're going to a golden age, but it's being awake and aware to our actions, our deeds, our thoughts. Our thoughts are big, because every time I wanted to do a healing business and I was thinking about people coming to my house and dealing with money, I kept getting a million thoughts to get me to stop it. Oh, this happened, that happened, this happened. What do you mean you can't handle money? You can't, all this stuff, and then I realized, well, where's that coming from? So it's a lot of it is self-esteem. And then when you raise your vibration, beautiful music, dance, buy something pretty for yourself, spend a little more money than you would normally spend on yourself, or do things for yourself to raise your vibration, your self-love. And the prayer, ask your guides, I need to raise my vibration. I need to, these are my goals, and I am worthy. I am valuable. I am important. I am worthy of love. I'm worthy of money, success. And I can just tell you the past year or so, we've lost a lot of relatives, but a lot of good things happen. And life has bad and good. So maybe a situation will happen, but the answer comes 2 minutes later. I don't have to dwell on negative stuff. It just gets done, or the money comes in, or the, all this good stuff, all of a sudden, new friends are coming in, new opportunities. The show came, a whole new world has kind of opened up because I raised my vibration. I stopped blaming other people for my shit. I took responsibility for it. That has to do with inner child too, taking responsibility. And the biggest lesson that I get, it's an upload from your heart, from your inner spirit, your soul, is it doesn't matter how bad someone is or what they do to you, or let's say political candidates you hate. When you look at the higher perspective, and then you realize they're part of God too. So I can't change another person, but I can love them. I can love them to death. I can love them to change. So when I stopped, picking a side, it could be politics, it could be anything, because everything's a side. Then I learned to love people, and that raised my vibration. And just one last thing, and I'll give it to Susan or whoever, but this is really big. Paul and I, when we first got together last week, the first part of the thing, I don't know, we were just chatting, and I said something about COVID, or I never had COVID, but my family's had it. I don't know. He said it's not real or whatever. And then there was another subject that we disagreed on. And for 1 second, we disagreed. We acknowledged we disagreed. And then I said, well, we disagree. It's another timeline for you, another timeline for me. Let's move on with the healing. The negative aspects want us to fight, and our ego wants to get in there. Let's fight for an hour instead of doing the healing. And that's what's happening with the whole society. So we're aware of that. And then, you're politically posting all the time for your candidate. You're causing the separation. It's great. Everybody should vote for who they want or not vote if they don't want to, but you're creating, in other words, you're forcing someone else's will by, you can't change. I've learned this. You can't change anyone from Facebook or social media. You can do whatever you want, but forcing people or saying this person's bad and that person's good, everyone's good. Everyone has a negative and positive aspect. That's life. That's duality. We're trying to reach beyond duality. But that's my biggest transmission that I'm getting today is like, that's how I knew I really changed, was that I didn't, my ego said, I don't need to fight with him. Or somebody can walk down the street and go, or, go and say, oh, I don't like what you're wearing. Okay. That's cool. I like it. Yeah. So that's the difference. So that's, I wanted to put that in there. Next.
Okay, I've decided I'm next. Yeah, actually, I thought of 6,000 things I could say listening to everybody talk, but I can't remember them. So I'll just, the thing that came up when the topic came up for inner child healing, and I'm going, well, I've done tons of that, and I've certainly done lots of healing, but was like really specific to this time. People have been talking about the mother wound. Well, there's the mother on so many levels. There's Mother God, there's Mother Earth, but like the mother, the parent, child, mother. And maybe 6 months ago, there was tons of forgiveness between my mom and I. We've worked really our whole lives on our relationship, but and I was into merger. So you're born merged with your parents' soul, but that merger expressed conflict. So you're completely, you're supposed to be, you're a child, and you're completely meshed with the energy and light of this parent, and it evolves into conflict and control and pain and rebellion, and almost naturally, that's how it, for most of humanity, really. And yeah, just thinking about that that's how it happened, but it's just really hard to take. How can your total union with something create war? I'm totally one with you. I hate you. That's like, anyways, yeah, we worked on it lots and lots. So more and more, and right now people are talking about that wound is healing. And yeah, there was this expectation when I was younger, all my childhood, maybe all my life in my young adulthood, that it just goes on and on. So I'm 10 years old. My dad's CIA. He tells me about this time that is happening now is coming. And I figure, okay, maybe next week. Yeah. And you wait and you wait and you wait. And that rejection, that parent-child never coming to, I'm waiting for it to start changing and for us to get, and it never, the constant expectation that this time it'll happen again, that this time I'll be rejected again, that even if I develop my character and I have patience and understanding, doesn't matter, it's going to happen again. And I've been having dreams about my mom and my sister and my grandmother, and they're all over there, and I feel totally left out, and no matter what, it just happens again. And so I keep coming up against that in my daily life. But now is not when I was 10. Now it's it. Now this time has come. And if I am patient and I listen, the wall comes down and it doesn't happen again. And things start to move and people start to merge. But I still have this constant expectation. I'm ready for you to attack me. And then you don't. If I give you a chance, if I attack you first, well, then I'm making trouble. But if I sit there and okay, just back off for a minute, incredible things happen these days, but wow. I can do that for an hour or two, and then I start getting agitated, and then I know that they're going to do this, and I know that they don't care, and I don't know that, but it starts coming up again. So I need to burn that out of my automatic system. So that's what came up with inner child work for that. My modality was freedom practice. Well, it started off as, God knows what it started out at. Great Life Technologies had something to do with computers, inner software engineering. When I did it, it was post-traumatic stress, core dynamics coaching. Then it became freedom practice. Now I think it has another name, and it just keeps evolving. Essentially, it's transcendental meditation. And it was all dropping the story, dropping the judgment, and feeling the sensation in your body until it goes silent, until it completely evaporates, which could take, well, if you did it with Tom Stone, who was the originator of these techniques, it would take a few hours. If you did it on your own, 2 hours a day, it could take a few months. But eventually the emotional part of everything evaporated and you recoded, and it opened up new worlds, and you got to meditate and get silent and everything. And it seems I use less and less modalities, but I've worked that modality into my if I'm just sitting here, I will go into my body and I will go into sensation automatically now, because I did that for 10 years. I did that technique, deliberately focused, and now I just do it and process, and sensation decodes, right? So, or codes, I don't know. So that would be my technique. I can teach it. I have a coaching certificate. I've never done one-on-one really. I've done group work. Obviously I like group work. And yeah. And then I told my friend I was doing this show on inner child work, and he said, "What inner child? Your child is on the outside. You're a completely immature, petulant, creative person." I went, "Thank you very much."
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, that was it. That was my rant. Next.
Well, I just want to resonate with what Susan said, because Julia, you can attest to this. The thing when you healed my heart was I had to let down the wound of my parents, exactly what Susan just said. And I have this big shield because my mother was a narcissist and my dad was responding to her narcissist, and that's blocking all my relationship and my ability to feel safe around women because of that situation with my mother. So it came up through Julia's intuitive understanding. It resonated completely with me, and that's exactly the process I'm having to do right now, Susan. I did my own breath work, like somebody got me through coaching instead of me doing it for someone else, I was just the breather, and I just cracked open, and all this wounding and cries and tears and screaming into the bed around that pain that I felt I had, and all the wounds and all the programs and all the stories that made me smaller because my mom needed my energy to be able to survive. And I don't blame her for that. I chose those two mother-father figures to basically have an experience of and rise through and heal the intergenerational trauma, because all that stuff is just basically a program that's been thrown on every level of child from all the way back to the beginning of time. But each new story adds another layer of the onion, essentially. So that's what we're peeling, is the onion, is cleaning all that stuff off. The way I see it, it's bridge pilings. It's like, okay, my mother's a narcissist, women might hurt me or whatever. It's one bridge piling. Here's another bridge piling. And my armor builds on top to build a bridge. And as soon as that thing is done, the bridge starts to fall down. And my self-definition, all my stories, all my beliefs, all my whatever, all of a sudden has no underpinning. And I start a new foundation. And you talked the word, Julia, of responsibility. Well, the rebuilding reality has 5 key foundational elements. Self-responsibility, which means no victim, take your power back, own everything. It's happening for me, not to me. Accountability, deal with your shit, deal with your triggers, and how you respond to people is you have to own. The next one is deep discussion, communication, direct communication. You have to have that. Oh, the next one is actually vulnerability. You have to be vulnerable. You have to acknowledge that I'm fucked up and I had this and I had that and these things. My parents were this and my parents were that. You can talk with people, and then there's a synergy that comes with other people because they've been in the same program. Once we see the same program, we start unearthing it. The last was, or second last was direct communication. Last was self-love. These are all things that you're talking about. And once we build our reality and our self and our self-definition on these key things, nothing can fuck with us anymore. You are no longer influenced by a program. self-doubt, all this kind of stuff, because it's based on pleasing people and making your parents happy and dealing with these mother-father wounds. And as we flush them all away, and that's what Thanksgiving is about in the US, is going and meeting our family and having the conflict and all this kind of stuff. The way through it is those 5 things that I just talked about. Be direct in your communication. Don't be passive aggressive. Don't be shitty. Deal vulnerably. Oh, that hurt when that happened way back when, or whatever. And maybe it creates a conversation that heals all sides. Maybe it creates a huge blow up and mom and dad don't want to talk to you for a while. It's all perfect. And we're just moving through it of being really accountable and self-responsible in the end. So sorry, I talked a lot there, but once we have those, everything changes, because that's our inner child coming back to us. That's us owning everything that ever happened, and we're growing up really fast. We're no longer that inner child. So this is all resonating. It's beautiful.
What about Claudia? What else do you have? Do you have another subject you want to talk about, or anything that you wanted to get everyone to know?
Let's see what would be helpful. I mean, we all have beautiful lives that, are, up and down the roller coaster and, have a lot of significance and a lot of issues, a lot of good stuff. But nothing. I just wanted to say about responsibility. I've, I definitely wanted to make my own way in life. I was ready to get out of the house at 18 and start my new life and things. And so I just ran with it. But, and responsibility. So I started being responsible for myself and this and that. But, once a parent dies, it's like, that other half of the relationship, isn't there. So, I really did need to grow up and be more responsible for myself and be accountable for, what's showing up in my life, like Paul says, and things. It was really, so it's been really, really a beautiful progression. End of July, August, September, October, and now in November. Yeah, all this. There's okay, so I'm going to India in December 26th. This is a family trip. My sisters. I'm getting emotional because first of all, my sister and her boyfriend wanted to do something for world peace, and they noticed that TM is putting on a 10,000 participant 2-week meditation in India, and they were going to go, and my other sister and I expressed wanting to go, so we're going to go. We're going to go on a family trip over there, and we're also going to go 1 week to a beach area, a resort. But I don't do sit down meditation. I'm the kind that gets delighted by all the seashells on the seashore, and they all look divine. But anyway, I'm going to practice meditating. And my girlfriend just told me last night that India has a way of helping you surrender. And so some more shedding. And so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Okay.
Great. That's fabulous. I would love to go to India and do that for 2 weeks. I need a lot of preparing to get on a plane. I will get on a plane, but it takes some preparing for me to. So we're getting close. I can't believe, the time is so fast. I couldn't believe how fast I had my nails done this morning at, what was it, 10:30? And before I knew it, it was 3:00. It was like, hello, where did like all these hours go? And I just want to say, I'm used to being invisible, But I walked into the my vibration was so high today. I walked into the nail salon and it was crowded because it's Thanksgiving and all the ladies at lunch are getting their nails done. So I walked in and I just said, wow, it's so crowded here. Everybody's getting ready for Thanksgiving, all these beautiful ladies. And everyone turned around and smiled at me and just kept looking at me. And I've been noticing that I'm getting stared at a lot. And I think they're just picking up on my vibration. And of course, the animals follow me everywhere. My dog has like attached herself to me. And we're getting deers and all kinds of stuff. Sometimes we have deers that just stare at the house. And my neighbors are like, there's a deer staring at your house. I said, I know, it's one of my friends. So does Susan, are you getting anything? Susan meets with the Galactics. Is there any new, and do you have anything to say about the energies or anything you've been told? Have you gone to the ships lately?
Yeah, I go every day. Yeah.
When are they coming? When are they saying hello so the whole world knows they're
I'm
there?
hoping when I went to Solargy Fest in Arkansas, I had this sense that we were going to gather an energy that could communicate interstellar. We couldn't even get to the mountain, forget about gather an energy. But so I'm going to Solargy Fest this year with this secret hope and there's a lot more people this year than there used to be, and that we could gather a transmission, a signal strong enough that would communicate interstellar. And if not for anybody else, I'll sit on my own little council and see if it works. This is my secret hope for Solargy Fest. Yeah, the council just seems to be like we're right there. We're really close. We're almost interstellar quality collective, like this close, and they're not interested particularly in all the machinations of every human emotional body. That's our problem, but it's all just fusing, and almost like maybe tomorrow we'll hear your voice, because if you're not a unified collective, you don't make an interstellar vibration, right? If you're busy working out all your stuff all the time, you don't.
That's why the separation keeps, that's on purpose.
But they said like this close, like
all the different
solstice
separations
is considered this solstice 2024, yet we get to go within and without. So the more we are inward, the more further out we project, something like that.
Do you feel they're going to give us the free energy, like Dr. Greer talks about, the free energy and technology?
So I think like 2024 is like a cross between all this working through our stuff and beginning to feel strong, and 2025, all the things that we've always hoped might start happening. So
that's what I get. That's what I get from my inner knowings. I get like knowings, and that's how I knew about the ascension process, and I knew we were going into a golden age. I started to meditate because I read Eckhart Tolle's books, and then all of a sudden, I think next week we're going to do my life path. Susan and I both are life paths. We might not have any guests, and then we're going to take a break right before the conference, because these guys are flying. Hey, if anybody, I don't have any plan. I would like to go to the conference. I have making plans is hard for me at this moment because I'm so tired. But if anyone's driving I'm right outside of Philadelphia. I'm right off of the turnpike. If anybody wants to pick me up, I'll write you a check for the hotel and everything, and I'll treat you to dinner. That I might be game for that, but I just can't. I would love to go to Houston, maybe next year. I did have time to plan. And this dog, like I can't go with my husband because we got this dog, and I'm not ready to give her to the, what do you call it, the pound or whatever. I mean the kennel. Is it like a kennel? Well, she's new, and I didn't want to freak her out. If we both went, we only had her a few weeks. So anyway, I really feel that I've seen the ships. I think a lot of it is personal right now. There's a lot of personal contact. I saw big, huge ships. I had telepathy. That was an amazing experience. And these are our ancestors. We have their DNA, and it's all good, nothing to be afraid of. And it's amazing. And it's all part of God's plan. We're all together. So what I'd like to do, I usually do a light language prayer at the end. And I'd like to just, if you guys are into it, I just want to do like a couple minutes or so prayer for peace everywhere. We've got wars going on in every continent. So for unity and to raise our vibration. So
one little thing for Claudia.
Yeah. What?
So can I say one little teeny thing? It's really fast.
Sure.
So the modalities that I do, they're transcendental meditation, and he gives you a TM meditation as part at the beginning. It's like it takes about 2.5 minutes. I called it the American fast food meditation, and it encapsulates transcendental meditation in like 5 minutes. It's really fast. And if you ever want to know it, I can tell you, or I can even send you. He has a script. It's like 1 page, and that's TM. kind of reduced, but yeah, it's very effective. It's very good. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah, Sis, you know what? I don't know the method of TM, and I wonder if I want to know or if I want to wait and have it all. Yeah, as an experience in India. Yeah. Well, let's see what goes. Thank you.
Whatever.
Claudia, I'm getting for you. You're a nature person. You see God. You could walk in the forest and just be one with the universe. And so I'm feeling for you to wait, and then you can decide what you want to do, because India is going to be amazing for you. You're going to move mountains, and I can feel that for you. There's angels around you, and you're just going to change so much, and your spirit is beautiful, and you're going to really, it's going to be an amazing time for you. I'm so jealous. I'm not jealous. I just
thanks, Julia, for that.
Okay, so we'll just I'll start with some angelic light language, speaking in tongues if you want. I ask Mother, Father God, Yeshua, to bring me the codes, so to send the energy through me, through my body, through my arms and hands, and all the people here listening and the people on the show, to send beautiful energy to anywhere in the world that needs peace, to end the wars with dialogue, understanding, and love, and for us to be unified so that our galactic neighbors will contact us and assist us with technology, so money is no longer an issue. Everyone's in beautiful homes and beautiful communities doing what they love. And we are all one with God, feeling God's presence, God's love. Oh, I feel it now. Woo! It's beautiful. So much love. So I'm sending that love to all of humanity, to Israel, Palestine, to Ukraine, Russia, to Africa, to South America, ending all the cartels, ending the drug trafficking and the human trafficking, ending man's inhumanity to man, ending all negative influences on planet Earth. Wushandara sero sondara kianama shi. Kero sondara ninamai namai. O kondara masira sondara shi. O so lama kai kono sho si. Era sondara kianana mahi yana masira sondara kian. Era sondara shiro sondara kiana mahi. Indarama si kirama shi. I'm picturing beautiful angels above all the war all wherever there is war on planet Earth, I see the angels surrounding, protecting the children's spirit and soul. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is, and so it shall be. The golden age is upon us. Thank you so much, Claudia. You were brave. You didn't know you wanted to come on. Thank you for coming on. And Paul, as you know, you're part of our staff. You're part of our group.
Anytime.
And Susan, as always, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate.
Thanksgiving.
And just a beautiful time. It's all working out. Just give it to God.
Lean into the discomfort. It will let you free.
And watch the Three Stooges or something funny.
McHale's Navy is my funny thing.
I love McHale's Navy.
It's on YouTube. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
And